Hey guys, I am back with a project share, my first for May. I'm going to try and share as I make this month instead of giving you 8 million videos all in a row of 8 million things. So for this project share, I just have 2 gift bags and 2 like mini album brag book type deals to show you. The gift bag idea I got from watching Bobby Joe, and she mentioned she watched a tutorial by Mixed Up Craft of how to use these 12 by 12 papers, which of course I can't fit fully on the screen with my cell phone, unfortunately. But it's these 12 by 12 papers that are like a full page that you would use as like a cover page or something in a scrapbook. When you don't scrapbook, it's kind of hard to figure out what to do with these pages. So I thought that was a really great idea to use them to make big 12 by 12 gift bags. So I thought I would try them. I definitely need to practice more. One of them turned out okay, and one of them turned out really badly, I believe. This is the one, if I only have a tag on it. Yes, this is the one that turned out really badly. It looks okay in the front. Like, it looks okay, it looks like it's, you know, what's wrong with it? It looks fine, but once you see the rest of it, you'll understand why I screwed it up. So this is definitely something I gotta practice, but I love this idea. I made 2 of the same bag. The only difference was the papers that I used for the spines, because basically you use up 2 pieces of paper to do the spines. So I was able to use, you know, paper pads usually have 2 sheets of the same design. So I used the same design on the front, the back, and the bottom on both bags, but then I had to use different ones on the spines. So again, this is the front. Again, looks nice. It's got a ribbon handle. I used a scrap to make a little tag. Looks so nice. And then you go to the sides, which I don't know how well this is going to show. It's going to do like this. I just used this door paper for the sides, because I didn't really like it and wasn't sure what I could do with it. There's a reason this isn't folding very well. I screwed up the score lines. But then on the back here, I used this grid paper because the front has a grid on it as well. As you can see already on the back, I totally screwed up. Oh, you can see this is hard to do on a phone, so I apologize. Especially since what's holding my cell phone is covering half the screen, so it's kind of hard to see what I'm looking at here. But you can see here, I totally screwed up on gluing the fronts to the sides. I screwed up a little bit with the back, but then I totally screwed this up. And so basically the reason it's not folding flat or nicely is because mainly with this side, you can see I screwed up the gluing. Like this side, I didn't do too badly. You know, it's tolerable. If you trim this little bit off, probably wouldn't be a big deal. For some reason, this side I totally screwed up and got like it leaned way too far in, so it went down super crooked. And I can't fix that without trimming a whole bunch of the front off. So this one's a fail. And the sad part is this is the second one I made. The first one I made turned out way better, and I'll show you that one in a minute, but this one's a complete fail. And this is the second one that I made, so I don't understand how I made the second one worse. It would look really cool if I hadn't screwed that up, but I screwed that up, so. And there's the paper on the bottom there. It's like a, what's the word? It's like a stone floor. I'm sure there's a better word for that, but it's like stone pattern. I can't think. So that's the failed one, and I'll show you the one that's a little better. So this is the one that I am much happier with, and like I said, it's the first one I made, and it still has its flaws, and like I said, this will be a work in progress. I'll do it with more practice, hopefully get it better. So again, same front, same ribbon handle. Again, I used a scrap from this flower paper, which is the sides, it's the spine for these, which you'll see in a second. I just used the scrap for the tag, and then I tried to make a paper tassel. Oh, the wash is coming off. Good job. Tried to make this paper tassel because in Mixed Up Crafts tutorial, she had these paper tassels on her bags, and I think Bobby Joe also did the same thing, and I thought that looked really cool. Basically, I like how this came out. It looks cool, but it was a pain in my butt to make. So I don't know that I'll be doing this again. As cool as it looks, and it uses up a portion of scrap, yeah, it's a pain in my butt to make. Some of those embellishments that people make that look really awesome are just not, they're not, for me, they're not fun to make, and this is one of them. So I don't know that I would do this again, but it does look cool. And like I said, it's the same paper on the front and the back, same ribbon, same twine holding the tag and stuff on both bags. And then on this bag, I used that same floral paper that I used for the tags because I really liked it and thought that the tag scrap tied in better with these flowers than with the other scraps that I had. So that's the side. Again, I glued them on a lot better with this one. And then again, we have the back, and this one sits much flatter because it folds better, because I didn't screw up the score lines on the spines, and I wasn't nearly as screwy with the gluing down of the spines either. But again, it wasn't perfect. That's easily the hardest part, like cutting everything, scoring everything. You put the base down, you glue the back and the front to the base, and there's hinges that you have to attach to these sides of the base to put the spines on. And everything until you get to attaching the spines is pretty straightforward and easy. It's just trying to get the spines to line up properly, and that is something I need to work on. So you can kind of see some little bits here that aren't quite lined up. And like I said, these turned out better, but you can see here they didn't line up quite right. There's a little bit of white space there. I tried to trim it on this side and it came out crooked, and I think the glue, I had to pull it up, and that made like wrinkles in the paper. I don't know if it'll show up on camera. And actually, I forgot to mention too, for both of these bags I used some of the scrap to put some reinforcement in, and I believe Bobby Jo did that. Mixed Up Craft didn't do this in her tutorial, but I believe I saw Bobby Jo do this, just as, because I don't have a crocodile like in Mixed Up Craft's tutorial. She has a crocodile, so she sets eyelets where the handles go, and I don't have any way to do that. So if it had just been this one punched hole, you put a gift in it, it'll probably rip. So I just used scraps to add a little banner of paper inside to add a little bit of reinforcement for the holes for the handles. So like I said, this one came out better than the second one, and I'm bummed because like this is really pretty and I wish this had worked out better, but it is something I'm gonna keep practicing at to use up these full sheet papers, because I never know what to do with them. So yeah, I love the idea, I just need to get better at executing it. Also, before I do this again, I need to definitely invest in some like at least ½ inch, if not inch wide double-sided tape, because that's the easiest way to like tape all the hinges and flaps and stuff that go together to make this bag. And the only double-sided tape I had at the time was 1/8 inch double-sided tape. So I had about half a roll of the 1/8 inch tape, and I used that all up, and I almost completely used a second roll. So don't do that. That's stupid. That wasted tape. But yeah, next 12 by 12 paper pad kill that I do before I make a bag, gift bag, I will invest in at least some ½ inch tape. Maybe not the 1 inch, because I feel like you have to be too precise with the placement for that, but the ½ inch, you have a little more wiggle room. But yeah, don't make this with 1/8 inch tape, because you think you're not going to use a lot, and you do, because these sides are 12 inches long, so that's a lot of tape. Lesson learned. Okay, let me show you the less fail projects here that I have. So the other projects I have made so far, trying to kill the Antique Street 12 by 12 paper pad, are these two brag books, mini albums. They're more like brag books because they're not interactive at all. They're pretty flat. I had made these bases out of file folders quite a while ago and never got around to using them. I actually have 2 more, but I'll hold on to those for other projects. And I just thought this paper went really well with the manila or whatever color that is, beige, of the file folders. So I made 2 of them because again, you got 2 of each sheet of paper in the paper pad, and they are 5 by 7 in size, and they're the same. They have the same papers in both. About the only difference really is this one doesn't want to sit flat for some reason. It probably just needs to be worked through on the spine a bit more. This one sits pretty flat. So they're pretty much the same. I mean, obviously they're handmade. They're not going to be exactly the same, but I did follow the same process for both, so I'm just going to open up the one that lies totally flat so it's easier for you to see. So both brag books have this lace closure. It's the first time I remember to put a closure on one of these. I always forget, because the best way to do it is to put it under the paper. So I finally did that this time. So it just goes around the spine to the back. I used some vintage photo distress ink on the edges to sort of finish it off, because I just thought the core of both the paper and the file folder looked a little odd. And everything is not 100% even as far as lining stuff up, because again, handmade. So I think the finishing it off with the vintage photo kind of made everything a bit more concise. So this was actually the other 12 by 12 sheet in the pad that was like one you would not really be able to cut up. But it was really boring for like a gift bag, because it was basically, it said happiness down here, there were flowers in one corner and flowers in the other corner, and then like this lined paper, ledger paper, all through the middle of it, so you could kind of cut it up. So that's what I did for the cover. I thought I was going to be able to get some of the flowers in there, but I couldn't because I could barely fit the happiness in the 5-inch width of the album. So I just took a cut apart that came with it that went really well. It had similar flowers and just stuck it in the middle, and I just put some dark teal enamel dots in the corners to sort of give it a little more color so it's not all yellow. I didn't embellish this album too much because it's supposed to be a pretty flat book. It's like a brag book. You just toss some photos in it. It's not like a mini album that's all like interactive and stuff. I am planning on doing that as well, but for these I wanted to keep it pretty flat, so it's mostly just paper inside and ink, obviously. So you open up the front cover here, and there's this was in the cut apart, one of the cut apart pages this book belongs to, so I thought that was appropriate. So I stuck that on the inside. I did make some pockets inside the covers with the some of the border strips, because I have a hard time using border strips, so I can find some that go together well that can work as like a pocket or a belly band or something. I'll do that. And then I just stuck some coordinating cut aparts in, so whoever gets the album can use it as a journaling spot or just decoration or a photo mat or whatever. So I put those two in this pocket, also just to show that it's a pocket. And then I give me up some of this stone paper in a different color there. Again, it's just very simple. I was considering embellishing it, but then I'm like, it's 5x7. If you want to put a 4x6 photo in, there's not much more room for embellishing, and I'd rather let whoever has the album figure out where they want to lay stuff. Again, I think it's different in a mini album when you have multiple pages and flip outs and things like that, but in something like this, I think it's better to keep it pretty simple. So again, I just sort of repeated the patterns. And this is the inside of the back cover. It's not too many pages, obviously. Again, it's supposed to be small and flat. And again, I just stuck some cut aparts that coordinated, that had this yellow, pale yellow in it, just in the pocket there. Again, it's the postcard paper there in the back cover. And again, we just have a pocket with the border sheets used up. And then this is the back here. Again, this was the flowers. Like I said, I had hoped to put the flowers in both corners, but it was way too big, so I just used the one flower for the back cover, so it kind of matches the front here. And I'm pretty proud of it. I mean, I wish I could have embellished it more, but I just figured there's only so many pages, and when it's only 5x7, and I don't know, I just felt like embellishing it would make it thicker than it should be. You know, it's pretty thin, not too thick, and it works for like just throwing some quick photos in, as opposed to doing like really deep scrapbooking, although I suppose you could do that if you wanted to. So yeah, these two projects I am much happier with than with the gift bags, but I've also done the mini album thing before, so it wasn't as complicated to me. But I will most likely be putting these up for sale because I am quite happy with how they came out. And yeah, that's all there is for this project share. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Please give me a share, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and click that little bell in the corner to be notified when I next upload a video. Also, don't forget to join us in the Facebook group. It will be linked below, so we can chat there and not just in the comments. So, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.